Hi, this is Ariel back with Sound Advice. I'm in the studio today with Derek Sivers from CD Baby. And Derek often speaks at music conferences, and I've had the pleasure of being in the audience several times. And one thing that you talk about, which I love and which I've repeated to many of my clients and friends and artists that call, is about following your gut, your internal compass, and really understanding what your limitations are. And I have a lot of thoughts about how you say this, but I'd love for you to talk about that a little bit, and then I'm going to add my 2 cents as the person that gets delegated to quite often.
Okay. Um, the point is that in hindsight, when I look back at, I made my living as a musician for 12 years before CD Baby ever started. And in hindsight, one of the biggest mistakes I ever made was the time when everything was going really well for my music and I was doing what I love to do best, which was my music. And then I met with this lawyer who kind of told me, it was like this pretty well known music attorney who said, I've been watching your career and here's what I think you should do. You should start a record label and you should sign 3 other artists to your label. You should produce them and do for their careers what you did for your own. And then I can go get you some kind of a sub label deal with a bigger label, and we won't put all your eggs in one basket. Then we'll sign you as a label instead of as an artist. So that's what you should do. And I went home that day after meeting with him, just kind of like, yeah, I guess so. I was like, I guess that's what I should be doing. He knows better than I do. And in hindsight, it's easy to see that the only stuff you're ever going to do well at is the stuff that excites you. Because everybody in the world has different things that excite them and different things that bore them. And whatever stuff that you find is draining your energy, you need to find a way to stop doing it as soon as possible. And whatever stuff is the kind of stuff that actually like keeps you up until 2 in the morning, which and what I love is that it's different for everybody. So for some people, um, booking gigs or promoting gigs is something that keeps them up until 2 in the morning. They love booking gigs and promoting gigs. And then for other people, it's like playing the drums. They love playing the drums and they'll play drums until 3 in the morning. And then for other people, it's like maybe there's somebody like wants to make a record. And you don't play drums, you don't want to play drums. So hell, have the guy that loves to play drums do it for you. And so you've been booking your own gigs for a while, and it's just like, oh my god, I hate it. I don't like booking gigs. Then you know what? Find one of those people that loves booking gigs and design your life in such a way so that you're doing as much of the stuff that excites the hell out of you as possible and as little of the stuff that drains you as possible. But it's like you really have to pay close attention to the compass in your gut, like noticing like what's exciting me and what's draining me. Because the trick is that sometimes the answer changes. Many times, some of the best booking agents, for example, used to be the bassist in the band. And they were the bass player in the band, and they was like, okay, I'll book the gigs. They started making some calls. They're like, hey, this is kind of fun. I kind of dig this. In fact, now all my friends like work at clubs and kind of really enjoy finding good acts to kind of help put into the clubs. And you know what? I think I'm going to find another bass player for the band, and I'm just going to be the booking agent. So you got to also have the kind of, again, just pay attention to the compass in your gut to notice like what's truly exciting you, and just do that, even if it's not what it was 2 years ago. You know?
I'm going to add a little bit to that. Yes, but here's the bad news. When you're just starting out, and I get calls all day long from artists that are calling, a lot of them not happy, and they want to know, how do I get a booking agent? I need a booking agent. And I say, great. Well, we're no longer a booking agent, so I can't help you with that. But how much money are you making booking yourself? Are you making 100 grand a year? And they scoff sometimes and say, no, we're not making anywhere near that. And I say, great. 10% is what a booking agent makes. So sadly, most of them don't just take on projects because it's a hobby. They take on projects because they make money booking you. So you're going to need to get up into a certain level so that when it's time for a booking agent to come on board, it's worth their while. So,
Well, related to this, though, Moby, the techno artist, had a great interview about 10 years ago now almost, where the interviewer asked him, like, okay, I've been you and I have both been in the New York music scene. It was like Interview Magazine, one of those things. They said, you and I have both been in the New York electronic music scene for like 20 years. You, why did you get so much more success than your peers. Like there were a lot of people making music just as good as you or whatever, yet you were the one that kind of became more famous. Do you know why that is? And to his credit, Moby actually knew the answer. He said, "Yeah, I'm really glad you asked because," he said, "I know that all of my friends were trying to do everything themselves. They were hanging up all the flyers on telephone poles and they were trying to do like all the calls themselves and everything." And he said, "I saw that they were spending, hours and hours per week hanging up flyers on telephone poles or whatever. So I spent hours and hours per week meeting other people that were great publicists and great promoters and great record labels and great managers and great financial managers or whatever." So he said it was just the same amount of work that they were spending doing, flyering telephone poles. I spent that same amount of work meeting people who were the best at what they do. So a year later, they were still hanging up flyers, and a year later, I had a team of people that I had, finally won over that believed in my music and wanted to take a chance on me and stuff like that. So he said it's just a difference in what you spend your attention on or spend your work on. So I thought that was really interesting.
That's a great point. I recently, well, not recently, about 2 years ago, read a great book that changed my life called The Secrets of the Millionaire Mind. And in it, he says the first thing you should do if you feel like you don't have enough time to start your business or start your passion or ignite something within you to become self employed is get a housekeeper, because the 3 hours a week you're spending cleaning your toilet, you could spend focusing on your business. And that's a very poor use of your time.